Thank you. A very good afternoon to all and good evening to our other friends. Mr. AKM Delwar Hussain, Honorable President, SAFA.
Yes.
G. Nihar Jambu Sariyaji, Honorable President, ICAI. G. Dr. Devasis Mitra, Honorable Vice President, ICAI. Mr. Inaika Bandara, Vice President, SAFA. Mr. Klaus Bertrand, Deputy Chair, IFAC, SMP Advisory Group. Mr. Salvador Marin, President, European Federation of Accountants and Auditors, EFAA. Mr. Panayiotis Alamanos, President, Federation of Mediterranean Certified Accountant, FCM. Ms. Alta Pinslu, CEO, FAFA, Pan-African Federation of Accountants. CA Dr. Sanjeev Singhal, Central Council Member and Chairman, Committee for Membership and Practice of ICAI. Mr. Oku Pratma, Executive Director, Asian Federation of Accountants, AFA. Ms. Hina Usmani, Member, Small Medium Practitioner Committee of SAFA. Mr. Tisa Subhasinghe, Member, SMP Committee of SAFA. Mr. Henaika Bandare, I have spoken, Vice President, SAFA. CA Prasanna Kumar D, Vice Chairman, CMP ICI. Mr. Mudit Vasisht, Secretary, International Affairs Committee, ICI. All my dear friends, seniors in profession and young professionals who are attending this global webinar in very large number. I, CA Satish Kumar Gupta, Chairman, SMP Committee of SAFA, welcome you all in this SAFA Global SMP webinar hosted by SAFA and hosted by ICAI on this very important day, International SMP and MSME Day, organized by SMP Committee of SAFA on the very relevant topic, building digitalized SMPs in post-COVID era. Friends, we all know that COVID-19 pandemic has affected us in a very big way, not only SAFA countries, but also the entire world. It has affected the MSMEs. It has affected MSMEs led by the women. And it has also affected our SMP, to which our profession belongs. Friends, there were several challenges in this pandemic COVID-19 era. There were challenges of working capital. There was challenge of recovery. There was challenge of decision making. There was challenge of skilled employees. There was
that is on the 1st of July is coming very near. And today, the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, in a broadcast had congratulated the Institute for the impending Chartered Accountants Day on the 1st of July. SMPs and MSMEs, you see, have been very important aspect or very important topic of discussion in the corridors of the Institute. Today, we have celebrated the International MSME Day. And let me tell you what the Institute has done is, it has opened or introduced a separate website for MSMEs. In India, for MSMEs, there is a separate act called MESMED Act. So what we have done is this, we have opened a separate website for MSMEs in India. And we have also introduced a certificate course for chartered accountants if they want to get themselves accustomed to the working of MSMEs. And let me tell you, as soon as we have announced the certificate course, all the admissions were so quick that we had to close down the course and now think of, stop the registration and think of having one more batch. So much is the interest amongst the chartered accountants in this new area of, MSMEs, and the interest is more amongst small and medium practitioners who constitute a sizable number of the practitioners in India. It will be about 60 to 70% of our practitioners would be small and medium practitioners. So and the interest on MSMEs have been so huge. In India, the institute has 164 branches. Out of 164 branches today, in the live telecast and the live programs that you had, we had the union minister coming and joining us at about 3:30 Indian time.
Some issue with the voice, sir.
All right. There was a minor technical glitch, so sorry for the disruption. And as I go ahead, I will also speak about technological disruption and the way we want to, face that at the institute. So sorry for that. So I was telling you about, the kind of program that we had for the MSMEs on the International MSME Day today. 90 branches were involved. And we, telecast the whole program live all over the country from Delhi, from our headquarters in New Delhi. And those of us who are aware, New Delhi happens to be the capital of India. Now, what has happened is this: with this pandemic coming in from last year, we have become totally digital. We have our programs are 100% digital, or they could be hybrid in nature. For example, today's program was a bit of hybrid because some of us were here physically, and then we made about 30 to 40,000 chartered accountants were listening to us when we are having this MSME program. So, and I'm sure in all your respective countries, the similar would be the situation where you might have gone totally digital or you are going for the hybrid programs. So at the institute, we are now aware of the technological disruption which is going to affect the profession. Let me tell you the way it has started. Those of us who deal with income tax, in India, they have now started this whole idea of faceless assessments. That is, you never get to meet the income tax officer, don't even know who your income tax officer is. The notice and everything is done on the net, and you have to submit your papers on the net, and everything is faceless. Our membership, the small and medium practitioners, were used to a situation where they had in-person assessments. But today we have this situation of faceless assessments and technology being used in the process. And at the institute, we are doing everything possible to ensure that our membership gets accustomed to this changing scenario, where the technological changes affect our professional lives. And as I said, our membership, who are in practice, about 60 to 70% of them are SMPs. Now, many of these SMP small practitioners and of course the MSMEs, they have been, coming to us and saying that can we have a bit of, reduced compliance of the accounting standards. Please note, in India, we have two sets of accounting standards. For public interest entities, we have Ind AS, which is about 99.8% or 99.9%. Only about 8 or 9 carve-outs are there, which is 99.8% IFRS. And we have a separate set of accounting standards for those who are not going for the IFRS compliant. In India, we call them Indies, who are not going for Indies compliant standards. What we have done for those standards which are not Indies compliant, we have got a separate level, that is level 4, so that the micro units or the smaller units, they have a lesser compliance on the accounting standards. So you see, we are trying our best to see that these small and medium units, the compliance becomes a bit less rigorous. And then we are also aware that artificial intelligence, blockchain, data analytics, all these aspects are going to affect the profession very, very much. We are also aware that the technological disruption will be quite severe as we go ahead. So what we have done, we have formed a separate board called Digital Accounting and Assurance Standards Board. Now, what does this board does? The board is doing a lot of research on artificial intelligence, on blockchain, to see how the membership can get itself acclimatized to the technological disruptions that are going to take place. I see on my screen Mr. Sanjeev Singhal and of course Mr. Satish Gupta. Now both of them, and Mr. Sanjeev Singhal especially, they have been working very hard to get audit Now, what are we doing to do with these audit tools? In these audit tools, we are going to have a practice management manual. We are going to have a digital library. We are going to have data analytical tools. We are going to have the documentation tools. So those kind of things we are thinking about. We are, my council colleague Sanjeev Singhal is working very hard, led by his team, to see how we can do all this. So at the institute, we are trying our best to see that that we build the digitized SMPs in this post-COVID era, because the COVID, we know that we are going to be virtual. There is no doubt about this. But in a post-COVID era, we have to get our membership very, very ready. There has also been those of us who deal with auditing standards. The auditing standards that we have in India, 46 of them, they are also compliant, except 1 or 2 with the international auditing standards. Now, we are also thinking that whether we can have a separate set of auditing standards for smaller and less complex entities. Whether we are looking into it and trying to work on that. So, the changes that the institute is thinking of and the way we are looking at the challenges that will come in the post-COVID era, we are looking at them extremely, extremely seriously. And I'm sure as we go ahead, we shall share our initiatives and thoughts with you. But today we are I have no doubt that those of us who are participating in the deliberations and who are watching us will find the deliberations extremely interesting and enlightening. And on behalf of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, I welcome all of you to this discussion, and we look forward to having more such interactions in the future. And I thank all of you for your patient hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Vice President ICAI Dr. Devasis Mitra, for your.
So, क्या करें President साहब तो?
I think our President sir has not joined, so I would request our President SAFA, Mr. AKM Deliver for his address. Over to Mr. AKM Deliver Hussain. President SAFA. Mr. Hussain. Mr. Hussain.
Mr. Hussain, if you would kindly commence your address. Our President, Nihat Jambusaria, will join a bit later. So we shall be glad if you kindly commence your address, Mr. Hussain.
Okay, I am ready to speak. But are you here? My speech. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Mr. Nihar and Jambusaria, President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, India, though he is not present here, quickly he will join, inshallah. Mr. Klaus Bartram, Deputy Chair, IFAC, SMP Advisory Group. My dear Professor SAFA colleague, SAFA Vice President, Hanaike Bandra, Vice President SAFA. CA Satish Kumar Gupta, Chairman, Small and Medium Enterprises, Medium Practices Committee of SAFA. Session Moderator, CA Dr. Sanjeev Singhal, Chairman Committee for Members in Practice, ICAI. President of all SAFA member bodies, members of SAFA members bodies, distinguished panel discussion. I'm very much glad and happy to get today's panel discussion. Mr. Salvador Merlin, Mr. Bernd Alnomas, Mrs. Altra Prinsloo, Mr. Akib Petrana. They are 1 or 2 months before he was joined our SAFA conference in Bangladesh. So I convey my regards here also. Distinguished guest and participant, Assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon to you all. I hope you are all doing well in this time of COVID-19. I feel highly honored to present here this evening at the webinar on building digitalized SMPs in post-COVID era. It is a very pleasure to present here with my fellow friends and colleagues who have earned tremendous success in their respective careers. I convey my thanks to the host, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, ICAI, for organizing such a webinar in observance of International SMP Day. I also appreciate the endeavor taken by the SAFA SMP committee, chaired by very capable personality, CA Satish Kumar Gupta. It's my pleasure for giving me the opportunity to deliver a speech on this auspicious occasion. Today's topic on building digitalized SMPs in post-COVID era is very timely topic. The COVID-19 pandemic ushered in a series of socio-economic changes in our lives, societies, and economics. We are now rely on digitalized technology and connectivity more than ever to virtually conduct essentially function under lockdowns. But the transition from offline to online services and platforms were not smooth for everyone globally. Many remain excluded from digitalized connectivity and platforms and are unable to transition to the new normal. I believe you all agree with me that the challenges have been facing in this region a lot, as the first world countries obviously had an added advantage to deal with the condition because of their digitalized circumstances of many large business enterprises yet to cope with the ongoing changes. So we can comprehend the condition of SMPs when COVID struck. It expanded the existing digital divide, and the second and third waves continue to constrain how we cope with the pandemic recovery process. This is new normal should be adopted in all respects. Small and medium enterprises practice have an important role to play in supplying professional services to their small and medium-sized enterprises clients. Understanding the range, requirements, and benefits of available professional services is essential for practitioners and SMPs to be able to tailor the various services to meet the needs of their SMEs clients, as well as helping them to choose the right service for their needs. The pandemic has demonstrated that a digital first environment is workable and can be adapted to many situations. In addition to that, we need to go digital informed in more aspect than we envisioned before the pandemic hit. We need to deepen and accelerate digital transformation. This way, more insights and intelligence can be gathered from emerging technologies such as the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, big data, and blockchain. Innovation should be bold. For many clients, the next step may be unprecedented creativity. As they gain more confidence in their ability to experiment and manage risk, business will seek out SMPs, advice on the best ways to make their grand plans in a reality. We need to expand our digital footprint faster and make sure that no one is left behind this new normal. Expanded connectivity and access will be essential enabler to access digital services and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals SDGs by 2030. Solution should be scalable and affordable with no need to invest in expensive, elaborate system at finding answers by taking into account the lessons practices gained during the lockdowns. We have also learned that the environment and addresses challenges we faced during the pre-COVID time. It has been a great pleasure to join this webinar today to the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India for giving me the chance to say something about this matter. Thank you all for patient hearing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Delvar Hussain, President SAFA, for enlightening all of us on the use of artificial intelligence, blockchain, and other digital technology for each and every small, even small businesses of the SAFA countries. And I think I'm also thankful to you for bringing this, organizing MSME program today's day by every country of the SAFA, every member country of the SAFA. Really great on your part. Thank you very much, sir. Now I would request our President ICAI, CA Nihar Jambosariya, who has joined us. Honorable President CA Nihar Jambosariya, a very visionary leader.
Thank you, Satish ji, and my apology for joining little late because something urgent was going on and I had to mandatorily attend. So
voice is not.
Tisan and all those who are attending this webinar. On a very right day, this event has been organized, and that is on World MSME Day. At the ICAI, for so many years, we had a dedicated committee to deal with challenges of SMPs. And for them, the institute was doing everything possible. But since last year, after the pandemic and its recurrence again and again, we realized here that MSMEs have suffered so much that their survival is in danger and we must do something to help them. So this year we have a dedicated committee on MSME and we had a day-long program for them. you will agree that we need to discuss what is relevant for SMPs. But in the scenario which COVID has created, you will agree that the future of SMP to an extent is related to the future of MSMEs. I will not say completely, but at least to an extent it is related. In the digital era, prior to 2 years, we were all knowing that technology is eventually taking over some of the routine functions, compliance functions, and there could be some disruption in our existing functions which we are performing. But at the same time, the digitalization and rise of technology has generated many opportunities as well. If we are able to effectively use artificial intelligence, blockchain and data analytics, then probably our growth would be accelerated. I believe that technology will not disrupt anything. In fact, it will give accelerated growth to the practicing firms. And SMPs must focus on getting themselves reskilled on technology. In today's panel discussion, I am sure that all these aspects which are related to reskilling the chartered accountants in SMP practice would be discussed at length, and some better ways would emerge. Today, every country is trying to reskill its professional in its own way. But this kind of platform where so many countries collaborate and discuss on technology as to what is the scenario and what are the steps forward, it would give very effective result not only to one country but all who collaborate and discuss this. At ICAI, again to help SMPs, apart from reskilling them on technology, we have taken several steps to help them and see that they grow and they thrive. With this, I would wish all the best to this panel discussion, and I am sure some of the very good conclusions will emerge out of this panel discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable President, sir. I know that under your visionary leadership, ICAI is doing a great for the SMP. ICAI now doing the great for the MSMEs also. And today, 90 plus seminars on MSME in India by chartered accountants shows your leadership and your vision towards the MSMEs and the SMP. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot. Now, my humble request for the Mr. Klaus Bertram, Deputy Chair, IFAC SMP Advisory Group on digital transformation of SMP in the changing world. Over to Mr. Klaus Bertram.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, good evening to all of you. Many thanks for the opportunity to participate in the SAFA Global SMP webinar on building digitalized SMPs in the post-COVID era. I'm delighted to be able to make some remarks on such an important topic. My name is Klaus Bertram. I'm a managing partner of a small audit firm in Mannheim, Germany, and I'm the German member of the IFAC SMP Advisory Group, at which I'm the deputy chair right now. The constituents of the IFAC SMP Advisory Groups are small and medium-sized practices. Members of the SMP AG have substantial experience within the accounting profession and are drawn from IFAC member organizations representing 23 countries from all regions of the world. Next slide, please. Digitalization is here and more is coming. Daily life increasingly means a digital life. Business increasingly means digital business. The global pandemic has speeded things up greatly. In a recent McKinsey survey, many corporate executives reported that their companies had responded to the pandemic by moving 20 to 25 times faster on digitalization than they had thought was possible. It just goes to show how necessity has forced the pace of change, a change that is necessary and will be lasting. To gauge how the pandemic has altered the range of services delivered, the ways SMPs have responded to the new dynamic, and the most important issues facing firms everywhere, IFAC informally gathered anecdotal perspectives from nearly 24 SMPs representing a diverse mix of countries globally and published an article, Small Firms Remain SMEs' Most Trusted Advisors Through the Pandemic. The article paints a picture of the current state of SMPs and their critical importance, particularly to small businesses during these unique economic times. It also offers a window into how SMPs can turn pandemic pain points into positive long-term transformation for their own practices, as they continue to safeguard the critical role SMEs play in local communities around the world. The pandemic accelerated the adoption and use of technology by many small firms and their clients. This has required significant investment in ICT systems. Cloud accounting has changed the way practices prepare accounts, and we will likely see more moves to the cloud, which enables a virtual platform with data and presentation and other information shared online. Successful SMPs will understand that things can and do change so quickly that they will need more and more real-time data, including financial information, which would see us move away from outdated historical financial reports being used to monitor performance and being used for decision-making. This will require increased use of digital tools and software. SMPs have learned they need to offer a 100% digital experience to customers from document reception to invoice collection. Next slide, please. In some countries, there was a very rapid and successful migration to remote working. There are reports that previous fears, especially from senior partners, disappeared immediately, and the flexible working environment has positively impacted retention of talent. Benefits have been highlighted in the new flexible business models, and firms have also had to change their methods of assessing staff productivity and performance in the virtual environment. Next slide, please. In every jurisdiction, SMEs continue to suffer disproportionately from the economic fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic. And while SMEs have always relied on and had strong relationships with their accounting advisors, the pandemic affirmed and strengthened those relationships. SMPs continue to guide SMEs through this trying time, helping them remain solvent, connecting them with government programs, providing emotional and practical support, and otherwise underscoring their efforts to stay in business. All of this while also navigating their own sea of change transformations. IFAC has this week launched a dedicated social media campaign to promote the importance of SMPs as part of UN Micro SME Enterprises Day today, June 27. Next slide, please. The pandemic has significantly impacted what services are being provided by SMPs. For example, in the US, more than two-thirds of firms are already offering coronavirus-related services of one kind or another, and that should rise to 3/4 in 2021. Additional advisory and growth opportunities have also been identified in business modeling, cash flow modeling, increased demand for CAS services, cybersecurity services, and HR consulting. Next slide, please. IFAC has recognized the importance of cybersecurity in the current virtual environment and have organized a webinar on the topic to cover threats, opportunities, and services by practitioners. It will take place on July 14, and this event will look at cybersecurity lessons learned during the pandemic, offer practical advice for firms to stay ahead of or keep up with threats, look at opportunities for the accountancy profession to respond to current demand for cybersecurity services and to anticipate new demand. The speakers in this webinar will provide a range of insights into how cybersecurity issues are affecting SMEs and the profession and how they can respond. The registration link and further details are available on the IFAC website. Next slide, please. On the following slides, I will show you some resources from IFAC related to digital transformation of SMPs. First of all, practice transformation, action plan, a roadmap to the future. This short publication was launched in 2020 and was prepared with input and guidance from our SMP advisory group and captures key messages and actions under 4 themes for firms to consider evolving to be future ready. It is recognized that every firm will be different and the level of action to transform will depend on a range of factors, including the life cycle of the practice, partners' motivation, the size and services provided, the firm's location and type and number of clients. There is some overlap between the areas, and at the core it acknowledges that change is a new concept. The future requires an open and agile mindset, a new and increased emphasis on continuous improvement, and a mindset of embracing rapid change. For example, clients' expectations, demands, and needs are changing. A key competency in the future will be the ability to see and anticipate trends on the horizon and advise clients on the implications of those trends. Next slide, please. Small business continuity checklist, how to survive and thrive post-COVID-19. Also in 2020, IFAC launched a small business continuity checklist. Poor financial management is a leading reason why businesses fail. The checklist is a diagnostic tool helping businesses to proactively identify and consider essential and timely information. It will help small businesses navigate today's crisis and plan for tomorrow's new normal. It is not intended to be an exhaustive checklist of requirements, but rather a tool to help identify priority actions for immediate attention. The checklist is interactive, so individuals can insert comments in response to activities and actions to consider. Next slide, please. Now, the Knowledge Gateway provides a global profession with thought leadership articles and resources. IFAC developed a dedicated COVID-19 webpage covering audit, ethics and independence, financial reporting, professional and personal wellness, business continuity and resilience. And also the latest is a bi-weekly newsletter which summarizes the news, resources and discussions added every 2 weeks. You can tailor the email for focus on some or all of the gateway areas. To register, just visit the website of IFAC. Next slide, please. IFAC has a dedicated webpage focus on practice transformation, which features examples, case studies of innovative practitioners and a range of resources covering technology, talent, and the firm operating business model. We also have active social media channels on Twitter and LinkedIn, which you are welcome to engage with us on. Links to these various mediums are provided here, and you can also find them on the website. this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you. I hope I could stimulate the upcoming panel discussion in some aspects. Good evening from Germany. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Klaus. Really great oration, a very wonderful presentation you have given. And we all know, and I would like to share with my friends, that IFAC is a global organization comprising 180 members and having 130 country associates, and represent 3 million professional accountants. And Mr. Klaus Bertram is the deputy chair there of SMP Advisory Group. So really great, sir, to hear you. Thank you very much for your deliberation. Thanks a lot. Now I would request my brother in the council, CA Dr. Sanjeev Singhal, who is chairing committee for members in practice of ICAI this year, a very visionary leader, a very proactive council member, and arguing or participating in every issue which the profession has and where the involvement of the council colleague is necessary, and a very wonderful human being. I would invite CA Dr. Sanjeev Singhal for moderating the next session on the topic supporting and servicing SMP, role of regional bodies. Over to Sanjeev Singhal.
Thank you very much, Satish Bhai. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. The Honorable President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, C.A. Nehar and Jambu Sariaji, the visionary leader. The Honorable Vice President of the ICAI, C.A. Dr. Devashish Mitraji, President SAFA, Mr. A.K.M. Delvar Hussain, C.A. Satish Gupta ji, my brother in the council and Chairman Small and Medium Practices Committee at the SAFA, Mr. Klaus Bertman, Deputy Chair IFAC SMP Advisory Group, and my fellow panelists, including C.A. Satish Gupta ji, Mr. Salvador Marin, who is the President of the European Federation of Accountant and Auditors for SMEs, Mr. Penetus Elmenos, President Federation of Mediterranean Certified Accountants, Mr. Alta Prinso, Chief Executive Officer of PAFA, Mr. Oki Pratma, Executive Director, Asian Federation of Accountant, Ms. Hina Usmani, Member SMP Committee of SAFA, Mr. Tushan Sapsinghe, Member SMP Committee of SAFA, and Mr. N.I.K. Bandara, Vice President SAFA, and of course my Vice Chairman in the committee, C.A. Prasanna Kumar D, who is a council member. This is a great occasion to be present here and moderating the panel today on the building digitized SMP in the post-COVID era. I think foremost, and I will really appreciate the presentation given by Klaus. He summarized most of the issues very aptly. In my thinking, what we need to do is this. We need to understand that how the SMP practice is organized, because in different countries, it could be organized in different manner. What are the challenges they are facing? Again, the challenges could be different from one country to another country. In one country, the challenge could be of digitization. In another country, digitization may be given and the challenges could be different. Then we need to think that how can we help them? Do we need to build capacity, or capacity building is already there? I am a strong believer of building capacity. And I also believe that capacity is not built by webinars alone. There is much more that needs to be done. And I'm strongly of the view that reservation does not promote anything. We need to build capacity. We need to teach them how to do business. We need to help them how to do business and how to grow business. Also, we need to understand small is beautiful, but not always. So we also actively look at the opportunities of the merger and the networking. Can we also look at sharing of the resources and reduce their cost of operations? Because if the cost of operations is reduced, they will be able to sail through the difficult timings. Can we take the lead? Can we lead the change as the leader of SAFA countries? And through the digitized world, through the digitized practice environment, can they take opportunities to do the work in the overseas market? Because the cost of operating in the SAFA region will be much lower than the cost of operating anywhere else in the world. Can our SMPs handle their clients in the profitability improvement areas? Can they do outsourcing in some of the areas? And I'm happy to tell you that the Institute and basically this committee on for members in practice is leading it. As the Vice President of the ICAI mentioned, we are leading the transformation in the digital for the digitization of the practice of the members in practice. And this is through the digital audit tool. We are building 4 types of audit tool, which is going to be a complete bouquet. As the Vice President mentioned, one will be the audit documentation tool, which normally the Big Four has, which takes care of audit planning to execution, control testing, substantive testing, and the final issuance of the report. Second will be a data analytical tool through which they can check the entire population rather than relying on the samples, and can do a lot of value add in the internal audit, in the forensic, and in the advisory functions. Third will be a practice management software, which will help them organize their practice in a manner that they can keep a track of time and cost of the resources. And fourth would be a digital library where the various case laws and the various material will be available on an online platform so that they don't have to subscribe it. This is one aspect. The second aspect is simplifying things for the SMPs. For example, as the Vice President mentioned, accounting standards. We have simplified accounting standard for non-corporate entities. And I'm happy as a chairman, as a vice chairman of the Accounting Standard Board, we have been able to do that. Plus, in the presentation which we just saw, professional and personal wellness was also mentioned. So as of now, the Committee for Member in Practice has about 28 schemes, which enables our members in practice to have a grip over the softwares and various other products of professional need, either free of cost or at discounted prices. So we are from our side taking care, but yes, nothing is enough. Hence, we have to keep improving. And I'm sure that this digital audit tool will prove to be a milestone. And since sustainability was mentioned by Satish Gupta ji, let me also mention that at the Sustainability Reporting Standard Board, we are leading the transformation to a healthier, happier, and safer planet. And India is also coming out with the concept of social stock exchange, in which the ICAI will have a very large role to play. With this background, I welcome my panelists. And I would like to start with the first question, which comes to the mind of everyone. And my request to the panelists would be that I may be asking one question to the multiple panelists to add on what the fellow panelist has said, so that we can have more opportunities and more time for the interaction and for a deeper discussion. Let me start with the first issue for discussion. We know that there are challenges which the SMPs are facing. Let us discuss what is that one or two biggest challenge. May I request everyone to kindly be on mute till the time we're speaking. Thank you. What are the biggest one or two challenges that the SMPs in your region are facing in the digital era? Let me start with Mr. Oki Pratama. Oki, welcome to this webinar, and you know, I would request you to kindly share your views on the biggest challenges, one or two that are being faced by the SMP in your region.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Good evening from Jakarta, Indonesia, and Assalamualaikum. Well, for AFA, we recognize SMP as a key stakeholder of our region's ASEAN economy. In fact, one of our priorities is to contribute to the development of these ASEAN SMPs by contributing mainly to the region thought leadership capacity on issues relevant to the ASEAN SMPs, as well as providing platform for mutual learning and sharing opportunities with regional and international stakeholders, Chair. Now, to answer your question, allow me to refer to actually some of the key findings from our research report published just last December. So we know that a key driver for change for ASEAN SMPs in particular, those who responded to the study's demand from their clients, were predominantly SMEs. Now, in this technologically driven era, SMPs need to respond to the changing demand and also expectation from their clients, many of which may require them to adapt technology to continue providing value-adding services, Chair. And based on that study, two key challenges for ASEAN SMPs in adopting technology are cost, since technology adoption is perceived to be costly, and limited skills or capacity. And I'm sure these findings are also relevant for many SMPs in other jurisdictions.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you, Oki. Ms. Alta, if I can go to you for the same question, to have your views on the challenges that the SMP in your region are facing, the key challenges.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you for having me today. Within our region, the Africa region, we have not done a similar study, but I have just read a really interesting study being done by SAGE that covered 3,000 accounting professionals globally and 255 from South Africa, and very much aligned with what Oki said. Let me add one or two. Understanding clients are key, and 82%, for example, of the accountants in South Africa agreed that they needed to increase the pace of technology adoption to stay competitive. Better client relations is another one, where 65% agreed that technology helps them to serve customers faster. Of course, alongside that is updating their technology, updating their skills, as Oki already said. Let me then add the last one, talent, where 91% of these respondents agreed that if firms want to attract digital natives, they will need to reflect and nurture the progressive expectations, attitudes, and talents of these individuals. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I think you added a very good dimension on people, that is the talent. And I agree. So apart from cost, technology, talent is another key driver. Thank you. Moving on to you, Mr. Panagiotis Eliminos. First of all, I welcome you to the program, and I would request to kindly share your inputs on the biggest challenges faced by the SMP in your region.
Well, excuse me. First of all, thank you for the invitation. I think the main challenge that SMPs in our member countries had in this digital era had to do with information. The inability due to the lack of resources from small and medium-sized practices to be in touch with what is happening in the digital era in the area of accounting and auditing, knowing best practices, even more fundamental stuff like the sort of digital tools that are available and which they can use to facilitate and increase. And therefore, I think that the main challenge was that the lack of resources to get the necessary information that would allow them to be able to operate on the same level or close to the same level. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And I would request the esteemed panelists to be on mute when they are not speaking. Thank you. Moving on to you, Mr. Salvador Marin. Would you like to add any further perspective on this question?
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. It is a great pleasure for me to address you today. Thought the pleasure would have been for greater had we been able to be with you in person, of course. But instead, we speak to you from my office in Europe, in this case, from Spain. To speak about the difference, to speak about the different challenges from my region. Of course, I heard about technology, about digitalization. Of course, these challenges are very important. But in my opinion, in my region, in Europe, as you know very well, the European Green Deal is the European Union's plan to rapidly transition the European Union economy to a digital economy and sustainable economy. And in this new state, in this new period, this new normal period, in my opinion, the principal challenges for SMPs are different. SMPs can support the creation of a digital and sustainable European Union economy. How can do it? For example, the first challenge is for SMPs is to try to adopt digital sustainable business practice. SMPs themselves have a responsibility to change their way of working so that the key are more digital and more sustainable. This is an important challenge for our SMPs. Another one is to advise on digital and sustainable business practice. SMPs can encourage and guide their SME clients on how they can adopt digital and sustainable business practice and improve their sustainability and sustainability performance and digital performance. This is an important role for our challenge for our SMPs too. And of course, the number 3 could be, for example, the SMPs must prepare another report, sustainable report, for example, or digital between bracket report. SMPs have traditionally prepared the financial information. Okay, of course, we will continue with this role, but now we must to prepare another report, sustainable report, digital report for our clients. For that reason, it's very important to spend time in this area. And the final, another important challenge is to provide assurance on sustainable information and on digital business, business transformations. This is another principal challenge for the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Salvador. Moving on to you, C.S. Satish Gupta ji, my brother in the council, and we come from the same region. But last year you were the chairperson for the committee for member in practice, and this time you are the chairperson for SMP committee at SAFA. Very, very proud moment for all Indians. What's your view on the challenges being faced by the SMP?
Sanjeev bhai and all the panelists, the biggest challenge to my mind is the digitization of SMPs. And with security threats addresses and thereafter digitization of the client's businesses also. What is happening, sir? If we do the digitization of our SMPs, they will not work 100% if their clients are not digitized. So we will have to take care of both the things, the digitization of the SMP. So biggest challenge that we should be able to digitize our all SMPs first. Thereafter, we move to the government or we motivate the clients to do that work. Second challenge is the newer opportunities for the profession. Because what is happening, we can digitize each one of us, but without getting newer opportunities, without understanding the newer fields, I think it will be very difficult to go to the success of the SMP. And third one, sir, Sanjeev bhai, is skill availability and enability. That we are not getting the skills as far as our employees are concerned, and we should develop the skills ourselves also, and it requires several things. Other challenges are also cost of operations, liquidity, but I think those are manageable. But these 3 things which I have told are really the biggest challenge in our region, and we should take care of all these things.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think this was very, very useful. So the takeaway from the response to the first question is that the biggest challenges are cost challenge, technology, cyber security, digitization of clients, newer opportunities, and skills program. I see an opportunity in one of the challenge mentioned by Satish Gupta ji. Digitization of clients. While it's a challenge, at the same time, as the service provider, we can help them digitize their business, which will be an advisory function and which would act as a great source of opportunity for
Did we lose our chair?
Sanjeev bhai, your voice is not here.
Yeah, sorry. I was disconnected. Zoom stopped suddenly and it also asked me a question that would you like to send this report. So this is technology as it. So on one part which was mentioned by Satish Gupta ji on digitization of clients, I feel it can be converted into an opportunity. On the skills program, while Satish Gupta ji was speaking, I was thinking that can we do one thing? Can we, as professional institutes, take up the task of skilling non-qualified staff working in the SMPs? For example, can we train our interns or articles? Can we train our paid staff into the areas that we need? Say, for example, Institute of Chartered Accountant of India is launching the financial literacy drive and sustainability literacy drive. Can we also start something on the GST awareness, direct taxation awareness, accounting, payroll, etc.? Because for the professional institutes, it would certainly be possible. And this way, when I said reducing the cost of operations and when talent was highlighted as a major challenge, we'll be able to take care of both. The SMPs will not have to invest in skilling, and at the same time, they will be able to get skilled manpower. Thank you very much for these two ideas. Moving on. Let me ask this question to Mr. Benetus Eliminas. How prepared were the SMPs in your region when for working in a digital environment when COVID-19 pandemic struck them?
Well, our federation, the Mediterranean Federation, represents countries around the Mediterranean basin. So we have countries from Southwestern Europe, Southeastern Europe, and Northern Africa. And obviously, levels of preparation were different among those countries. Some of those countries were better prepared than the SMPs in those countries, some less so. But in general, I think people realized that the digital era was coming. They didn't realize they were into it already. So for them, it was something in the future, something they needed to address at some point. But the daily reality of work is something that is especially heavy on the minds of small practitioners. So I would dare say that the preparation was at a rather low level, even in countries in which you would expect them to be more digitally proficient. So in all, SMPs were not all that well prepared.
Yeah, and I can understand that. Asking the same question to Ms. Alta Prinsloo, can you throw some light about your region as to the preparedness?
Thank you so much, Chair. I think pre-COVID-19, the SMPs were already evolving from accountants doing the same things to accountants doing the same things differently, and perhaps even some to accountants doing different things, but some at a faster pace than others. So, for example, when I go back to the SAGE study again, it found that the accounting profession in South Africa was already responding to positive disruption before COVID-19, with 90% of South African respondents agreeing that new technologies have forced them to invest more and move faster to keep pace with the market and attract the best talent. However, as I said, the pace was different and is different for some moving faster and others slower. But for me, really, the question is, and particularly for Africa, is it still an evolution? Is it still SMPs evolving from doing the same things to doing the same things differently, to doing different things? Or did COVID-19 really push us into a revolution?
Yeah. Thanks, Alta. Can I ask you a supplementary question? When you said that it was evolving and something was already adopted, things were being done differently. Can you highlight 2 or 3 key things which were being done differently because of digital and which were helping the SMPs?
So I would think that when we think about manual operations and being automated, and a greater use of Excel spreadsheets for analysis, etc. Right? That's really moving from doing the same things to doing the same things differently. So starting to make use of big data, etc. But doing different things goes back to what Salvador earlier said when he questioned sustainability reporting, assurance on sustainability reporting. You know, that's where I see we will be going in the future. And for me, I honestly believe that COVID-19 has brought us into this revolution. And if we don't move fast through these steps, we will not survive. So that's why you'll always hear me talk about this journey. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And happy to share that in India, the first ever Sustainability Reporting Standard Board was formed last year. I am the first founder chairperson of that. And we have already issued an assurance standard on the sustainability reporting. And we also issued a sustainability reporting maturity model as a self-evaluation tool for businesses, and even the professional accountants can use this as a tool for rendering advisory services to their clients.
If I can add, so from a PAFA perspective, we are delighted to have your institute as an affiliate, right? Because we believe that all these advances, we can work together on to roll it out in Africa. So I'm really looking forward to continue.
Absolutely. We'll be very happy, to transfer that knowledge on sustainability. We are working on sustainability development goals. Assurance standard is already in place. Sustainability reporting maturity is already in place, 1.0. Now we are working on 2.0. We also started a certificate course on business responsibility and sustainability reporting. We have started work on social stock exchange, developing social audit standard. So there is a lot that we can help with. Thank you. Moving on to the next segment. And let me ask this question to Oki, Fatima. Are there any areas of practice in your region which are reserved for the SMPs? Okay. That only SMPs can do this.
Yes, thank you, Chair, for that. But I think this depends on the jurisdiction. I mean, if we talk about ASEAN or Southeast Asia, it's a region consisted of 10 countries at a different development stage, each with different level of regulation when it comes to accountancy practice, Chair. We're talking about countries such as Myanmar or Laos. So there are the very different stages of development. And in short, and this is something that was also come up when we did the study, is that ASEAN SMPs are predominantly servicing SMEs, including micro businesses. And these services may include assurance, non-assurance, advisory, and any value-adding services that are demanded by these SMEs, such as tax return or even also bookkeeping.
Thank you. Can I ask the same question to Hina Osmani? Hina, are there any areas? See, I understand that SMPs normally serve MSME clients, but are there any areas which are exclusively reserved for them, that this particular area of practice, say direct tax, GST, accounting, payroll, audit, or audit of SMEs will be reserved only for SMPs?
Thank you very much. No, there is no specific area as such who is reserved for SMPs, but the bifurcation of services is not based on the size of the firm, etc. Presently, SMPs are into services like internal audit, tax compliances, just as you said, the corporate compliances, accounting, bookkeeping, and external audit of SMPs. However, I understand that there is a need for specified services which will not only provide the SMPs growth opportunities, but regular revenue streams will help them maintain the quality service to their clientele. Recently, through amendments in tax laws in our country, now it is mandatory to have tax audits by third parties and not by the department itself. This will certainly open avenues for smaller firms, especially those who have good tax expertise, to generate revenue through quality service. Yeah. Another area, I understand that probably in your country, it's already in practice, the area where the branch audits are open for small practices, but it's not replicated here at the moment.
Yeah. So, let me share with you the tax audits in India started almost 3 decades ago. And branch audits, it's not that these are reserved for the SMPs. In fact, there is nothing in India which is reserved. But yes, normally the SMPs do the branch audits. But But with technology evolution, it's quite possible that the branch audits may go away. That's possible.
Yeah,
okay.
Actually, that creates the need actually. That creates the need that other regulators in the country also play their due role for promoting better financial management through SMPs identified services, and through specific legislation create regular engagement of SMPs and SMEs.
Yeah, I agree. As far as the engagement is concerned, that should be regular. But I am of the belief that the competition and competence is not confined to small, medium, or large, and you can find them anywhere. Let everyone flourish and let everyone find their own ways, because it's a choice whether you want to be in small size firm or mid-size firm or large size firms. Thank you. Let me go to the next question, and let me ask this question to Salvador Marin. Marin, do you think that, and if you think so, how the COVID-19 has changed the way SMPs are going to do their business, or are doing their business now, and they will do it in future? Mr. Salvador Marin, can we have your views, please? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair. Of course, the COVID-19 pandemic has changed the way SMPs are going to do their business. For example, about client communication. No, this is one example. Clients are looking for SMP that not only share information, no, with them, but who speak to them regularly, as how they can help. Offer based code solution to their problem, and SMMP have risen to these challenges. It is very important. Another one is, for example, advisory services as done. For example, SME clients want SMMPs to go further, faster, and deeper with them. And SMMPs have risen to this challenge too. In the earlier stage, for example, of the pandemic, the liquidity was the foremost concern, if you remember. No, now currently, solvency and continuity are the pressing concern of many, maybe most SMEs. No, SMEs were initially inundated with government announcements regarding access to finance, tax relief, assistance with paying wages and salaries, etc. No, and SMMP stepped in advising SME clients on how to stay afloat and take optimal advantage of what support was available. SMMPs help clients with cash flow and financing options, reforecast of budgets, technology assistance to support their remote work, and other forms of support beyond compliance. We are feeling this new state. For example, in our case, in my firm, in my company, we are working in this way with our client. Or, for example, another point. Of course, you have mentioned previously, no, digital transformation, remote working has emphasized the importance of technology and accelerated the adoption of technology solutions by both SMMPs and their SME clients. No, in the final, for example, at the end, for example, the crisis has reminded us how independent are SMMPs and their SMEs clients. SMMPs have and are helping SMEs survive today and helping SME be smarter, sustainable, and stronger tomorrow. This is
thank you, Salvatore. Altia, if I can ask the same question to you rather slightly differently, what are the one or two things in your region you would like which are not happening and which should happen in the way the SMPs are going to do their business in future and forever?
I would say that I cannot, I mean, I agree fully with what Salvador said, right? So they would really have to become true business advisors, and they would have to develop those skills, because today with COVID-19, small businesses, they have to make really hard decisions, and they want their SMPs to walk alongside them. So for me, that is really becoming a true business advisor. But also when I look at it is what about well-being, right? What about the well-being of their clients? So if we think about mental health implications of COVID-19, I think that puts a really big strain on SMPs, and the ability for SMPs to consider their own well-being as well as the well-being of their SMEs, I think is a new added aspect that we will see going forward.
Thank you. Hina, I would like to put as an extension of this question, business advisors, I mean, we hear many times that partner, value addition, but this can happen only in a non-audit function, because when you are an assurance provider, obviously you cannot do the same. So as a provider of value or helping the clients, what are the ways and means in which the SMP should reorganize their practice in the COVID-19 pandemic era?
Yeah, actually, Sanjeevji, that's exactly what I was about to say, that I agree with Salvador and Alta, what they said. In addition to that, actually, the impact in the long run is much dependent on the type of service which we provide. It's not going to happen in the same pace for all services. Like, for example, in my view, the assurance will not take the lead. The other services might take the lead because they will move forward. It will be easier for the SMPs as well as for their clients to adopt those digitalization. Assurance might take some of its time because it has many aspects involved in it. The government, let me share you what our government is doing and taking many initiatives there, like, for example, 100% online processing of all corporate compliances, including fee payment, 100% online processing of tax compliances and payment of taxes, many initiatives for ease of doing business, like in export processing, digital payment solutions, etc. So these kind of things, other than assurance, will take the lead, and in the short term to medium term, I think we will be totally in a digitalized environment, and I believe the digitalization will take its route, and eventually the world is moving towards complete digitalization. Some of them will adopt more quickly, and some countries will take time depending on their desire to change and availability of resources.
Thank you, Hinaji. Moving on to you, Oki. Probably the way we talk about being a business solution provider, and more people interested in providing the non-audit services, who should primarily focus on providing the assurance services? Because the value lies more in the non-audit service. The client there sees you as a partner. So who should primarily lead the assurance services according to you in your region? Is it the small practitioner, mid-sized practitioner, or the larger firms?
I think the demand for that will always be there, Sanjeev, especially if we talk in the context of COVID-19, when business are recovering from the impact of COVID-19. Of course, the government or the regulators, the policymakers would have that information about the business in the jurisdictions. So audits or assurance over this financial information of this business will be even more important. So regardless of the size of the business or the size of the practice, large, medium, or small, the demand, I think, will be there. I mean, the only thing that I would like to highlight is this, Chair, is that Alta mentioned about the role of SMPs as trusted advisors, and I think that's what's really important, especially now. I mean, I think SMPs hopefully will have that feeling of understanding their clients better, have that sense of empathy. I know when we talk about the context of assurance, perhaps not so much, but in terms of non-assurance, value-adding services probably more relevant. But in terms of having that empathy as business or MSMEs are recovering from the impact of the pandemic, that's something that the SMPs can especially offer in terms of what they can provide to their clients, especially the MSMEs, Chair.
Thank you very much. Moving on to a very important aspect, and let me ask this question to the Chairman SAFA Committee for Members in Practice, CA Satish Gupta ji. Satish bhai, can you please highlight one or two major initiatives of the SAFA member bodies which you feel can be replicated by the PAOs globally? You're on mute, kindly.
Okay, Sanjeev bhai. I think, Sanjeev bhai, there are several arrangements or several initiatives we have taken last year, this year, before last year's at SMP. And I really want that few of them should be adopted by other bodies also. Number one, what I want to say that now this is the time when we should think of the multiple disciplinary partnerships. So MDP is the need of the hour, and we should take a call that how can we all countries we can take lead in this. Second thing, in this COVID time when our SMPs were facing the liquidity crisis, we arranged unsecured loans for all our SMPs through our public sector banks and through NBFC, and that helped our members a lot. Second thing, that the work you are doing this year as a chairman of the CMP in India, ICAI, that you are going to provide four major things. You are going to provide audit tools, analytic tool, digital library, practice management software. I think all these three things, which are the need of the hour, we should provide our members. We should build the capacity of our SMPs, and this will make a difference. This will make a difference in the times to come, when we will support our SMP in the big way. And I think, I expect and I wish that each of us should adopt all these things. And SAFA, I know that Hinaji is here and Tishan is here. And we all know that at SAFA, it is the need of the hour that each one of us should support our SMP the best way possible. This is my suggestion.
Thank you very much, Satish bhai. And this response takes me to the next question, which I would like to ask all panelists one by one. We talked about 4 digital audit tools: audit documentation tool, data analytical tool, practice management software, and digital library. I'd like to ask, as I said, one by one. I can start with Hina Aji. That do you have these audit tools in your region available to the members? If yes, are these available free or the members have to pay? Do you think that if you don't have, there is a need to have? Do you think that the SMPs have the means to invest? And do you think there is a need to go beyond these 4 tools that we talked about? So it's all the aspects I want to ask, because this is the key when we are talking about digitization of SMPs. So I want to ask whether these 4 you already have. If you don't, do you think there's a need to have? Third, do you think your SMPs can pay for themselves, or is the institute which should provide? And fourth, do you think there is something else also apart from these which is required? Hinaji, we can start with you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Actually, there is no digital tool at present except for digital library. We have already launched for the members. We have actually introduced a software, but recommended that software to SMPs, but SMPs are still finding it difficult to afford that on a regular basis. So your answer to question number 1 is if we have digital tools, we have only digital library at the moment. We are working on the practice management software, and we are moving towards our practitioners are taking the lead, and they have the intentions to adopt that, but they cannot afford these digital tools unless it is available free of cost. Digital tools can improve service to the clients and enable the auditors to keep up with the development. So I understand that there is a dire need of these tools should be made available, and all the accountancy bodies at their own or at the regional level should collaborate and provide such digital tools for SMPs in order to them to become adopt to these digital efficiency and digital models at their end.
Thank you, Naji. And from the ICAI, we are willing to collaborate. Moving on to Oki for the same question. Oki, can I have your response on the similar aspects? I don't want to repeat in order to save time.
Sure. Thank you, Chair. Whether SMPs have the capacity to invest, I think I will go back to my earlier response referring to our research. One of the key challenges in adopting technology in our region is cost, because it's perceived to be costly. At the moment, there are no tools at the regional level, but few jurisdictions in our region have introduced several jurisdiction-specific tools to help their respective SMPs. Now, why jurisdiction-specific? Because some of these tools were established with local regulation in mind. And let me take an example out of this. I mean, so an example that I can share is in Indonesia. PAOs are working with the government to establish an online audit tool that SMPs in Indonesia can use for free. So this tool called Atlas is a living tool that will continually will be updated to adapt to changes in standards, regulation, and practices. So this is something that is currently being used by some of the SMPs in Indonesia.
Yeah, so thank you. For the same question, I would like to move to Pelminos. Pelminos, can I have your views on these four aspects of the digital audit tools?
Well, yes. Us being FCM, being a regional body, we don't really provide. Our members are actually the member bodies of the national countries. So different jurisdictions, as Oki said, have different requirements and have taken different paths. Just a small example, in Greece, where I'm based, our institute has collaborated with the Ministry of Finance to create a tool for tax experts, which are part of the wider accounting community, to be able to fill the tax statements and income tax statements in a standardized format. So in different countries, you have these different initiatives. I think the most important question is if we take it as a given that software, audit software, accounting software is going to be an indispensable part of the toolkit of every accountant. To what extent SMPs can have this, can participate in this part of the business, can afford to have their own digital tools, or whether the national institutes need to consider it part of their work, which wasn't so far, to provide, as it takes place in India, to provide the tools. So for me, that's a crucial question that to a large degree will determine in the near future how much SMPs can continue to compete in the marketplace, whether national bodies will take the initiative to and will consider it to be their mission to provide these sort of tools for their members. Thank you.
So thank you, Pelminos. Elta, can I ask the same question to you?
Yes, thank you, Chair. So the same for me. I don't have information about what is happening at the PAO level and the availability of such tools at the PAO level. But I do want to talk about the cost, because I think that there is something in economies of scale, right? And in that aspect, I think the regional organizations can play a role. And I agree that there are jurisdictional aspects that are different. But I think often we will find that we're more the same than what we are different. And I'm wondering whether, as regional organizations together, do we have an opportunity to do a stock take and see what is already available amongst our professional organizations, accountancy organizations, and then do a gap analysis and identify what other tools might be necessary in addition to the 4 that you already have. And, you know, something that came to mind was an initiative at IFAC when COVID started, and many small PAOs had difficulty in transitioning from in-person training to online training. And IFAC started this initiative, Online CPD for PAOs, where PAOs, and your institute did that too, could say what they have available that is relevant online, and that could be offered free at a reduced price, or it could be paid for. But I'm just thinking, can we make a stock take? Can we maybe have an initiative like that of what is already available, and then do a gap analysis and see what other tools might be necessary?
Thank you. Salvador, I would like your response on the same question, and also, are you aware of any such tools which are already available in any of the jurisdictions?
Okay, thank you. It's similar that the have mentioned Mr. Panatios Alamanos or Mrs. Alta. You know very well that, for example, we are using the DCN, no? DCN model is in now we did translation to 9 languages. Our organization, our members, they are using, of course, free, and they are using very, very well, no? As you know. But now, currently, we are holding different webinars to share with our different organization members good practices, no? Good practices, for example, to new tools for patents, to new tools for bills, to new tools for audits, to provide services. This is our role now, like a professional accounting organization. For example, in the last 6 months, we have celebrated 6 or 7 specific webinars only to show or to share with us a specific tool, free tool for our SMPs from the different jurisdictions. No, I think that using this model is the best option for our SMPs to obtain different information from the different jurisdictions, and of course to see or even to adopt the best practices from the different organizations.
Thank you. Moving on to Tishan for the same question. Tishan, would you like to throw some light on the digital tools which may be available in your jurisdiction, or the tools that you would like to have or to be made available in your jurisdiction?
And thank you, Dr. Singha. Yes, we do have. In responding to the situation, we have actually developed, and now it's in practice, an automated toolkit that could consist of project feasibility study, compiling business plans, and then it's really helping the SMP segment at the moment. And not only that, we have already developed, now we are on the test run, an automated SMP audit toolkit which covers all planning, execution, completion, and reporting stages of an audit. And then both these toolkits we have made available to our members. The second one is still on a test run. It will be launched during the month of August. It will be free of charge for our members. And not only that, in responding to the situation, initially at the initial phase, what we did, we noted our SMPs had certain cash flow issues at the initial phase in terms of, procuring whatever the required digital tools, sustaining staff, meeting overheads, etc. So CS Sri Lanka entered into a MOU with a government bank in terms of extending funding, and that also helped our SMPs to procure the digital tools of their choice. And going forward, we are also going to develop a tool on data analytics. So all these things would be free. 2 are already almost introduced. That's our stance, Dr. Singha.
No, that's really great. Can you elaborate more on what is available on this SMP automated audit toolkit? And can you also give an idea about the cost which the Sri Lankan Institute would have spent or planned to spend on the automated audit toolkit and the data analytical tool?
Yeah, actually, we were working with GIZ. It's a project, funded project, and CS Sri Lanka is working with this agency for quite some time. And it's a web-based audit tool solution, actually, web-based, and still, I mean, it's on a test run because we have selected a couple of SMPs to do the test run, and we get very good feedback. So with the feedback, we can comfortably say that we would be implementing, we would be launching it hopefully towards end of August. And even before this tool, we have carried out so many sessions to help out SMPs how to use certain open source tools available. For instance, if I say, I mean, you touched on forensic analysis, etc. Even if you take a package like Excel, you can still carry out Benford analysis using Excel, and you can automate all your audit working papers. Even the formats, everything. Still, you can do, and you can share these spreadsheets amongst the audit staff, and it's all about the mindset, Chairman. Because I would like to now during this crisis, what we noted, some of the SMPs really responded well to the situation, whereas some other SMPs did not respond. So I like to quote from Charles Darwin on the origins of species, which really applied, right? It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It is the one most adaptable to the change. So whoever those SMPs who adapted really harnessed the benefit. And also, Chairman, during this period, we noted some of these young SMPs emerged, right? They were adaptable to the technology, and they were responsive. And in terms of their education, also probably they were quite updated, and they managed to capture the market by introducing various tools in terms of tax consultancy, in terms of consultancy related to advisory. And then your good self mentioned this SMPs, one of the challenges happened to be the readiness of the SME and MSME clients, right? And it created a business opportunity, actually. I'm also running a SMP, so it created business opportunity as long as you have staff in place to cater to the requirements. Yeah, this is where we stand in terms of, the digitization of SMP. So most of the tools which we would be introducing. Yeah,
I'm really elated.
Thank you. So most of these tools.
Yeah.
Cost. Cost, let me get back to you, the total cost. We did it along with some engineers. And at that project, at the next SMP meeting, I'll be able to shed more light, regarding the cost, how we did it, etc. And most of these digital tools we'll be making available free of charge to our members, actually.
Absolutely. So as a jurisdiction, we'd be very keen to know three things. One is the features of these tools. Second is the time taken to develop, or you're taking off the shelf, or as a shrink wrap package. And third is the cost. So the features, the time, and the cost. So because, as I said, we are already in the process. So if we can get some insights before the next meeting itself, I'll DM my mail ID to you, and we'll be delighted to have the same. Thank you very much. This was very useful. Moving on to Mr. NIK Bandara.
Yeah.
Would you like to add any other perspective onto this digital audit tool and the availability of the same?
Sorry, because I'm not a practicing accountant, but what I would say that, as Mr. Our friend Tishan mentioned, of course, Sri Lanka has done a lot of work on this area. So I will confine my discussion only to the closing remarks.
Sure. Thank you very much. Can I ask the chairman, SMP committee, SAFA, how much time do we have to conclude the panel discussion, so that we have time for concluding remarks and vote of thanks?
Actually, it is already 7:20. We want to conclude it, sir.
Okay, fine. So let me take up the last question. And this question is that, let me ask this question to Tishan again. While working at the SMP committee of CA Sri Lanka and also SAFA SMP committee, what are your thoughts on how the POs and regional bodies can work together for capacity building of SMPs?
Yeah, Chairman, there's this saying, collaborate to compete, right? Collaborate to compete. So I believe, as a profession, not regionally, even across the world, unless we collaborate to compete, then the question arises, to compete with whom, right? So there are, affiliated other professions, and there's a threat of new professions emerging had we not responded to the present situation, and we may lose our stand. And if our members, our SMPs, wouldn't be able to cater to the situation with all due agility, right? They are the representative of the professions. These POs are the representatives of the profession, whether it's Sri Lanka, India, UK, or anywhere. So, had we not responded to the situation properly with all due agility, we are under threat of letting some other new profession to emerge, or some other, affiliated profession to replace something. Therefore, I believe personally, we all have to get together in terms of knowledge sharing and technical know-how in supporting each other. And also, I believe this particular juncture, Chairman, what we noted, that's why I said we have put our maximum effort. We have gone into an extent to negotiate with government banks to facilitate funding for our SMPs, because we understood the ground reality. The MEs and SMEs struggled, and in that struggle, our SMPs had a major hit on their cash flows. And unless they survive, then they would have closed down their SMP. So one of our first move was to enter into a MOU with the government bank to provide required funding to the SMPs. So likewise, some of these tools, the support, assistance, we can obviously offer to our SMPs using our network. And we are very well networked, not only Sri Lanka. I mean, if we get together, we are very much networked. So that network has got a value component, huge value component. So that we need to bring into to the benefit of the profession. So so my thinking is, therefore, we have to make now. If you take the present experience, based on the present experience, I think we have to start with bringing required changes to our syllabuses. It got to be more hands-on, and the challenges are different, and some of these people couldn't respond to situations quickly. Their business acumen, information system security, all these things come into play, and especially big economies. Now, if you take India, it's a big economy, and you must be having a lot of experience, in dealing with all these stakeholders. So big economies can obviously, on a better learning curve, and you all must be on a better learning curve. And if you can share such case studies on practical note, it would be really helpful. So likewise, I believe if we want to survive as a profession, at the moment, most of the SMPs are having issues because their clients are having issues. So we have to protect them. And if we try to, recover the cost of some of these even tools, they will be at a further bad because therefore we have to see this is the best time to support, especially in terms of technology. And again, what I noted, SMPs responding to situation, a lot of things happen there. Mindset, attitude, succession planning. Some of these mature SMPs really struggle because they have people down the line, young blood to respond to the situation. So these are some of the challenges. If we can share these things amongst ourselves, I believe that through the SAFA SMP committee, we can develop kind of a policy framework, and we can start supporting based on this experience to our SMPs, because as you rightly stated, SMPs who are mostly catering to the MSME and SME market, it consists of basically 80% of the economy. And I mean, if you generalize, it's between 70 to 60 to 80% in any country. And unless we support these SMPs to survive at this particular juncture, the profession would be at a threat.
So thank you very much. So I think there are quite a few key takeaways from this panel discussion, that we need to work on the cost, that how we can reduce the cost or how we can increase the revenue per rupee or per dollar of cost. We need to make talent available, and can at the professional institute, we can undertake centralized training programs. We need to provide technology, and almost everyone agreed that this needs to be provided free of cost. And probably if Sri Lanka is already doing it, we would certainly like to take inputs from them. We need to provide cyber security. So can we work with some of the service providers so that the data, threat to the data securities are mitigated. There is an opportunity in digitalization of clients. We need to look for newer opportunity, particularly in the sustainability areas. There are lots of opportunities, and of course we need to collaborate. And I really liked it. Collaborate to compete. And then can we also make use of the gig workforce, the people who want to work part-time and the people who want to work from home, so they may be the cheaper supplier of the manpower. So people may want to work for 2 months, then don't want to work for 3 months, or they want to work for 4 hours a day. So that could also be a source of supply of the skilled manpower. So thank you very much. I really enjoyed this panel discussion, and I'm sure that the participants would be benefited. And not only that, we'll take home these key takeaways and implement them in our region to the extent we find it practicable and feasible to implement. Thank you so much for your valuable inputs. Looking forward for another occasion.
Sanjeevji, if you allow me 1 minute.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Sanjeev bhai. Thanks a lot for such a nice moderation.
Thank you so much. I'm
thankful to Mr. Salvador Marin. I'm thankful to Mr. Panayoti Salamanas and Mr. Alta Pinslu, Mr. Oki, Ms. Ina Usmani, Mr. Tishan Subha Singhe for their nicer participation in this panel discussion and for sharing all the things for the benefit of the entire region. I would now request our Vice President SAFA, Mr. Bandara, if he is hearing me, Mr.
Yes,
Enayaki Bandara,
yes.
Vice President SAFA, please, sir. I request you for your concluding remarks.
Right. Thank you very much. I'm sure that I'll be able to do the justice within 5 minutes. President ICAI India, Vice President, President SAFA, distinguished speakers and panelists, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen. While thanking the ICAI India for organizing this global event and inviting me to make the concluding remarks, at the outset, I would like to mention that the contribution made and the guidance provided by all speakers and panelists on building digitalized SMPs in post-COVID era are commendable. The unprecedented current situation caused by COVID-19 has disrupted most professions across the globe, with accounting and auditing being no exception. Mandatory lockdown measures were imposed by governments to control the spread of the virus, with individuals having to work from home where possible. For auditors or SMPs, this means they can no longer travel to entity premises, nor even to their own offices, and that their work will have to be completed remotely. If there is a positive side to this significant challenge, I think our profession is already on a journey to becoming more digital, and the investment in digital capability has allowed many firms and practitioners to adapt to the new circumstances. Ladies and gentlemen, let me highlight a few key points that I gathered from the speakers and panelists. There were so many important points, I don't think that I'll be able to summarize everything, but the way I understood, I thought that to select a couple of points. So let me say a couple of points. The COVID-19 crisis has shown that the majority of SMPs, particularly those with a strong digital core, are ready to adapt rapidly to the changing world and could drive the transformation. I think that is what has, but that's the outcome of one of the outcome of this the panel discussion. The second point is that the opportunity for small and medium-sized practices to grow in today's business environment is unprecedented. Third, a digital transformation is truly enabling small accountancy firms to reimagine the services they offer, but successful change is critically dependent on attracting, developing, and retaining the right people. Fourth, they emphasized that there are 3 key steps in the implementation of the digitalized practice. Develop strategy and select your application. Develop the competencies and capabilities in your team. Focus on maintaining and growing your practice. The last point that I identified was the staff retention can be critical for the SMPs. Opportunities for progress and being able to learn and develop new skills are key to retaining staff. Building a continuous learning and development culture that engages and supports the workforce to adapt in line with business needs is vital to SMPs. Ladies and gentlemen, the key message is that with all these post-COVID developments, as a professional, you want to be able to take pride in your work. Your value to society is based upon your knowledge, on your skills, and most of all, on the standards you set for yourself. If you let those standards decline, then you not only let yourself down, but you also let down your profession and the people you serve. Therefore, SMPs now have superb client opportunities to diversify in areas such as improving business and continuity supply chain management and broader digital transformation. In addition, I would say that as catalyst for innovation, SMPs can help business to develop new revenue streams, transform their business models and support growth and share best practices. But this demands new capabilities and skills within the firm. However, adaptability and the readiness to engage in continuous learning, openness to sharing, and readiness to take responsibility during the earlier career stages, comfort with technology, critical thinking, and entrepreneurial mindsets were all key for a successful career in SMPs. So these are the important points that I have identified, but in addition to that, I have noted down more points, but I'm not going to talk about all those things. I'm sure all participants would have got the right, the knowledge and the skills by way of participating this, listening to the speakers as well as the panelists. So while thanking all speakers and the panelists, eminent panelists, and with those remarks, let me thank all of you for your participation and stay safe.
Thank you, Mr. Bandara. You have covered the entire 2 hours exercise in 5 minutes. It's your really wisdom and vision you have described in only 5 minutes, and you have covered all the points which we have discussed in last 2 hours. Really, thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot for such a nice concluding remarks we had. And now we have amongst us my brother in the council, C.A. Prasanna Kumar D, Vice Chairman of CMP. And he is the most experienced friend in the council and in this committee, because he is Vice Chairman for last 3 years of this committee and going to be lead in future in such a very big way. I would request my brother C.A. Prasanna Kumar D for vote of thanks. Prasanna Kumar.
Yeah, thank you. Dignitaries from the world of accountants, good evening to all of you. It's my proud privilege today to propose vote of thanks for the wonderful session we had, building digitalized SMPs in post-COVID era in SAFA countries. The friends, the deliberations like rightly concluded by our Vice President SAFA, so it has thrown a lot of issues where we need to collaborate. We have to work together to take the SAFA accountant to the next pedestal. No doubt, COVID has disturbed all of us, we're all aware, but it has given certain opportunities also where we need to take it forward for the betterment. We have to always look at good in something bad that happens. We're in the process. Certainly something good is going to happen to all of us. The friends, at the outset, I would like to thank our own president, Mr. AKM, Diwal Hussain, the President SAFA. I thank the Vice President, Hanayan Bandara, Vice President SAFA, and also the President of the Institute of Chartered of India. They have Jambusaria, and Vice President, CA Dr. Debashish Mitra of the Institute of Chartered of India, for the wonderful coordination they have made by giving a welcome address and the keynote address and concluding remarks. Friends, the main important other committee subject proper, Mr. Klaus Batra, Deputy Chair, IFAC SMP Advisory Group, made a very excellent presentation. It was he set the tone for the entire discussion. I thank him a lot on behalf of the SAFA. And the panel discussion is a wonderful discussion. As all of you must have seen just now, CA Dr. Sanjeev Singhal, he is very good in these panel discussions. He's very good. Even anywhere in the ICAI India also, whatever happens in a panel discussion, major panel discussion, be it domestic level or world level, IFAC level, first choice is we go to Dr. Sanjeev Singhal. He should be the panelist. So that's the type of he led the entire discussion very nicely, and he knows which question to be posed to whom, which question to be posed to all. So he does it very dynamically. Thank you, Sanjeev, for the excellent coordination made. And CS Satish Kumar Gupta ji, we're all aware. He was the SMP chairman last year. We had a similar session last time. Where the very good participation was there. So we all enjoyed the deliberations, and certain improvements have gone so beyond that. So I thank him for being one of the panelists and coordinating the entire session. And the other panelists today, Mr. Salvador Marin, President, European Federation of Accountants and Auditors for SMEs, and Mr. Panayatis Alamonas, President, Federation of Mediterranean Certified Accountants, Mr. Alta Prinsalam, Chief Executive Officer of Pan-African Federation of Accountants, FAFA, Mr. R.K. Pratama, Executive Director, Asian Federation of Accountants, AFA, Ms. Haina Usmani, very renowned member, because she participated, still we remember what she has done last year. Member SMP Committee of SAFA, Mr. Tishan Subasinghe, member SMP Committee of SAFA, for the excellent participation and deliberations today. So which has thrown a lot of things to be done in future. This is only a beginning. We thought that we were going to learn a lot of things today, but ultimately we realized today that we made a good beginning today. by conducting this particular conference, and we have to do a lot more from today onwards. The step one is done. What is the ultimate step? We'll continue to work together to see that see the light of the day this year itself. Thank you very much. Thanks, all of you once again. And I thank our own Mudir, who has been the coordinator. He is the knitting point for all of us. He joins all of us together. Mudir talked about excellent coordination he made. He knows almost the entire board of accountants. All the leaders are known to him. Thank you, Mudit, also. Thank the Secretariat of SAFA for coordination. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Himnaji. Thank you, Bandara.
Thank you,
Prasanna sir, Tishanji. Thank you. Thank you, Sanjeev bhai, and thanks to all. And see you again very soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Swami.
Thanks a lot. All the best.
Yeah.